He's an international photojournalist, a Pulitzer Prize winner, which is the highest honor a photojournalist or a journalist can receive. He's the founder of the Shanghai Center of Photography. He's photographed two of the most known historical events in the 20th century. He shared with his colleagues also in Moscow a Pulitzer Prize for spot news photography for documenting the collapse of the Soviet Union. And for this, he further received additional honors and the Overseas Press Club Award in 1992. His pictures, his photographs of China are widely recognized by the public as capturing an era of change that is quite unique in preserving native sensibilities combined with an independent point of living. Please welcome H.S. Liu, the Pulitzer Prize winner, distinguished adjunct professor at Shanghai Tech University, for his presentation, "The World is Not What It Looks Like."
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here to share with you some of my photographs, and also I share a cultural perspective. I date the start of my career to September 9, 1976, moment when Chairman I was in Paris when I saw the news. It prompted me to rush back to China because I wanted to capture this momentous change. I began photographing the Chinese mourning the death of great helmsmen. On the streets of Guangzhou, they went on their lives quietly, but their body language startled me. Their faces seemed more relaxed. Their shoulders seemed less stiff. Their steps seemed lighter. Comparing this with the memories when I went back to China for school in the early 1950s, where I remained until the start of the Great Famine in the 1960s, watching the body language of the Chinese people following the death of Mao, I sensed that a change was unfolding across the society. And if so, it would have a huge impact on the world. I wasn't prepared to guess just then how much China may change, but I was determined to photograph that era of China after Mao. Before I share a video showing the photographs that I took from the early years to the present, I would like to share with you a few thoughts and observations of China's rise with you. I hope the visuals of the photograph could also help to bridge these gaps in our understanding and of the experience of the recent decades of the Chinese people carry in their encounter with the world, and how that impacts the world going forward. I went back to China as a foreign correspondent for Time magazine and joined the Associated Press in 1978. My job would later take me to Los Angeles, New Delhi, Seoul, and Moscow, where I photographed the collapse of the Soviet Union in '91. In the course of reporting with my cameras for the 30 years, I would like to share a following few observations. One, it will be helpful to understand what transpired in New China of the first 30 years in order to understand the speed and the pace of the economic reforms following the death of Mao. It is the speed of the development of China that continues to shake the world today. The speed was an indirect result of how many ordinary and educated Chinese felt they have lost time in the first 30 years, ending with a disastrous Cultural Revolution, and how the whole nation was determined to make up the lost time. Two, the ideology of China, haunted by 1,000 years of imperial system, is far more rigid and at the same time more open, more pragmatic than it is realized by her global peers. It is certainly true when compared to the former Soviet Union, where China had adopted its Marxism and Leninism. Three, ironically, this peerless pragmatism, the diligence and the hard work of the Chinese people have gotten China today to a difficult period with the West. Four, the flawed perspective that after 40 years of economic reforms in China, that it has not embraced the West. When one sees the photographs of the recent decade and compare it with post-Mao China, the material changes are irreversible. How can it not affect the Chinese in so many ways, the outlooks of their global perspectives? Since early 1980s, since nearly 1 million students went abroad and come back with graduate degrees. Every year, about 150 million Chinese tourists went abroad and returned each year. Actually, China has embraced the Western science and education and blended them into a Chinese application. The idea of Chinese learning as substance, Western learning for application, were first proposed after the Second Opium War. It was not new. Since 1978, the Chinese behavior have undergone such profound changes that at times they seem unrecognizable to me. Their spending habits, their desire of international education, their embrace of social media, just to name a few. It is regrettable that the leading opinion writers will frame the world today as democracy versus autocracy. Anyone who has lived in China for 6 months will find this soundbite very problematic. 5. In 1978, the Chinese Foreign Ministry organized a tour of foreign journalists to visit this newly inaugurated Shenzhen Economic Trade Zone. We got off the Toyota minibus and literally stepped on the brown rice field. Urban planning officials, armed with their charts, would explain to the group of journalists where they had planned. They want a Holiday Inn hotel there, the highway across here to there, harbor and ports over there. I watched my colleagues' faces. None of them seemed to believe what they heard as credible. Today, unlike Beijing or Shanghai, Shenzhen, as an observer coined it, is the first communist-built city in China from start to finish. There was literally nothing there but a small settlement in 1978 and 8 acres of rice field. Today, it is a 3.2 trillion RMB economy, and it is bigger than Hong Kong. The West today seems similarly prone to underestimating China's commitment and vision for the Belt and Road project and to the ways that it would succeed. The claim that it is a new colonialism laying debt traps for those countries along the routes familiar to Western banking institutions, perhaps who have laid so much debt traps themselves in the underdeveloped world of Asia and the Middle East. I learned that a single Chinese entrepreneur who has sold 66 million of his own brand of smartphones in Nigeria. As we speak, the metro and railroads from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Indonesia, Israel, and Laos are built by the Chinese engineers and workers. With the same mistaken reading of the future for Shenzhen proposed back in 1978, a future that has indeed been realized could repeat itself in Western readings now of the future of the Belt and Road. So without further ado, let me start with this video. And if time permits before the lunch, I'll be happy to answer a couple of questions. Please. Thank you. I hope you like it. I think we are running out of time. I want you to have enough time to go and enjoy the lunch. So if you see me at lunch, you have questions, we can follow up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we do one quick question and then we'll steal 2 minutes from lunch.
Okay.
Thank you for taking us on such a stunning, beautiful visual journey from inside China and all across the globe. My question for you is, knowing what a lot of journalists say sometimes, they say there are two realities of any country. The reality they see through their own lens, so the way you see China or India or Mongolia in your lens, and the way the rest of the world sees it. My question to you is, what would you like the world today to know about your China that you think we don't know, particularly a lot of people who've never visited China?
I mentioned a little bit earlier
yes.
that China has come through such a period of tumultuous changes in 70 plus years. And it's hard to imagine the China before and the China afterward, sort of 30 years, 35 years apart. And I really would like to invite everyone wanting to know a quarter of mankind a little bit more is by going there and see for ourselves. Because a photograph is as valid as it can elicit a kind of emotional response to the viewers. And each person look at things differently. So they need to have the personal perspective to compare.
It's certainly all a matter of perspective. Is there any quick question we have in the crowd? If so, put your hand up and we'll get a microphone over to you. Do you have any quick question? Yes, one quick one, and then we'll break for lunch. Thank you so much for your patience. So we'll get a microphone to the lady before we break for lunch. The lady in the beautiful white top.
A humble thank you for such a wonderful journey into a beautiful country I knew little about. You showed us something called the art of living, the slow art of living. Where in China do you still see that kind of lifestyle that you showcased? Where can I go in China to still see hints of what you showed in those pictures of yours?
That's a tough one.
Yes, I am about to take on a very difficult assignment myself called Belt and Road from China going westward in the next 3-4 years. And there's just a vast amount of China that I have not yet seen. So, but the profound changes you will see once you leave the coastal eastern cities, you know, Shanghai, Shenzhen, etc., and go to the inland and to the northwest and the southwest, you will see. I think one thing you will be surprised to see how hard the Chinese continue to work, and that may surprise many visitors, despite people think China is rich today.
Certainly true. Thank you very much. H.S. Liu, everyone. A big round of applause for such a beautiful historical journey.